All right. So, let's see. We did this, the design plan. So, developing ideas. Remember, right now we've already done inquire and analyze, which is a really, really fancy way of saying figure out what's wrong and decide if we need to fix it. Okay? So if you don't have a definition right now for inquire and analyze, make sure you have figure out what's wrong and decide if we need to fix it. That's what you should have had, something along those lines. So next, second step. So now we know what's wrong. We got to figure out ways to fix it. And to do that, we're going to develop ideas. Again, fancy way of saying brainstorm solutions. Make sure you have that. You need to know how to brainstorm solutions. We should know the word brainstorm because we've heard it almost all of our lives. It's right there. You already got it. Okay? You've heard this from like kindergarten on. I realize for some of you it's a brain drizzle, but you're still some precipitation happening. Okay? I will tell you, most of the time, it's a really, really good idea to develop as many ideas as you can. Write them down. Okay? Most oftentimes, your first idea is not your best idea. Okay? That's why I had multiple children. Just kidding. I had a girl first. Obviously not my best idea. Sorry. But to be fair, my son's a nightmare, so maybe I should have stopped. Okay, moving on. So we've got multiple solutions. So if you got a list now of, let's say, 5 solutions. We talked earlier about our constraints being time and money. You don't have time, and you certainly don't have the resources to do every single solution. All right? Generally speaking, you guys are just like me. We're lazy people. Why would I do 5 solutions when I only have to do 1? Right? Well, the problem there is, how do I pick which one's the best solution? Especially when I'm in a group. Let's say these 3 ladies come up with a bunch of solutions, and they've got a list of even 3 things. Well, what if Kaylee thinks hers is the best? Well, of course, they're going to think theirs is the best. How do you pick which one's the best? So you have to start coming into criteria and constraints. You have to figure out ways to judge your solutions to identify the best possible solution. Okay? And I'm going to show you an example. I'm actually going to open up Excel so you guys can see it a little bit better. So, let's say this is real life example, I have exactly 30 minutes for lunch every day. So, there are some constraints that we have to identify, or criteria that we have to identify in order to pick where I'm going to go to lunch. First of all, one of the criteria has to be time, right? I only have 30 minutes. So let's just put in time. And I'll zoom in here so you guys can kind of see. Time is one of the first constraints. What's another constraint I need to think about, or a criteria that I need to think about when I'm looking at food? Price. Absolutely. I'm a teacher, so you know I'm broke. Can't just necessarily go pay for Red Lobster on my break. What's another one? Well, time. We've already got time. So I'll just put time. Now, destination is important because of the time it's going to take me to get there, right? So destination maybe not. But when you choose something you want to eat, what's the first thing you typically want to look for? Do you like the food? Right? So let's just say taste. Or whatever I say. Now, I want to come up with 5, and I don't know why this isn't zooming in so you can see it a little bit better. Here we go. All right, so give me 5 places very, very close, and I want a range of prices and stuff like that. So Malik, give me one. Subway, so we can eat fresh. Nico. Firehouse subs. All right? Popeyes. And I tell you what, I love me some Popeyes. Had me some last night. No big deal. Somebody else. Jonas. Jimmy John's. Wow, you guys must really, really like sandwiches. All right, I need an expensive option. Somebody give me something that's really expensive. But McDonald's, not so much. We can. What? Cherry berry? What is that? What's that? Cheese shop? Man, what kind of, I'm going to go get a cheese platter for lunch? Panda Express can be a little bit. I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to go, it's called Chang's Garden. It's up by McDonald's. So, hold on. Guys, the actual options mean nothing, okay? What really needs to happen is we have to look at this stuff objectively. And time-wise, I'm just going to go, we got to look and think objectively. Which ones take the longest? Which one's the closest? Okay? So of the 5, 4 out of the 5 are considered fast food, right? So which one's probably the slowest here? Probably Chang's, because there's no drive-through. So that's going to get 1 point because it's the slowest. Of the other 4, which one's is probably the fastest? I don't agree. Hey, remember, Jimmy John's is freaky fast, okay? Well, delivery's different than walking in there. Hey, you guys, you don't have to agree with it. Remember, this is just an example. All right, so let's just say Popeyes, they're always slow. It takes me forever. Firehouse, I've never been to, so I'm just going to give them the 3. And we'll say Subway's the 4. Now, price-wise, which one of these generally is, I will tell you, I have gone to all these but Firehouse. I always ring up a really high bill at Chang's. Popeyes, I never get out of there for less than $10 because I eat a lot. Jimmy John's is always right around 9 or so. Firehouse, we'll just say, is there. Subway, I can eat fresh, $5 foot long, whatever you want. Taste-wise, and now this is all my perception because I don't care what you guys like. So I'm going to say Popeyes is my favorite on this list. I do enjoy the Chinese. I like Jimmy John's. I'm going to assume Firehouse is better than Subway because I don't like Subway. So now as you can see, we've taken the criteria, which were time, money, flavor. We've graded them and judged them, guys. Judge them accordingly on a 1 through 5 scale. Now I got to figure out which one's the best. And because I'm super lazy, I'm just going to do it like this. So we're going to add them all up. And I've got my winner. So if I do this objectively, and I stop and look, where am I going to lunch? Jimmy John's. So what we have done there is we have identified a criteria based on our constraints. Our 3 constraints, time, money, and flavor. Okay, I obviously don't want to go somewhere that doesn't taste very good. That's a huge constraint. Guys, remember, the actual examples it doesn't matter. The fact that we can walk through and judge things using a criteria will allow us to make the best decision. And again, this is the most important when you are in a group, because you have to talk about these things as a group, and then you're not going to have anybody that's upset because their idea didn't win out. The group chose it, we graded it fairly, and it just didn't win. So like those of you that really wanted Chinese food in here, I'm sorry, it just didn't fit our criteria or the constraints that we're trying to work with here. Okay? So that's that. So, when we're talking about developing ideas, make sure you have something in there about coming up with a bunch of solutions and then choosing one of those solutions based on our criteria and constraints. So, brainstorm ideas. Choose one based on the 2 C words. Put that in there in your definition. You got to have it. Okay? Oh, everyone's already got that? All right, we'll move. told you earlier, I'll give you time to do your examples later. Okay? When you're ready, give me your eyes so I know we can move on. Okay, almost there. Getting there, getting there, getting there. Remember, brainstorm ideas. Pick one based on our criteria and constraints. Make sure you have something in there about criteria and constraints. Okay? All right, so now we've identified the problem. We've decided we need to fix it. Then we came up with a bunch of ideas. And then, yeah, I know. And then we chose one based on criteria and constraints. So we've got the problem. We've got a solution. Now we have to create that solution. Thank you. Part of creating a solution is coming up with a plan. This is especially important if you're working in a group. So if this table right here is going to start doing something, if 3 people start trying to do the same thing at the same time, it becomes a mess. So it's not a bad idea to develop a plan and say, all right, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, she's going to do that, ready, go. Okay? Once we have that plan, we got to do it. So under definition, just do it. Try it. Make it. Create it. Whatever you want to say. So you've come up with the problem, you've came up with ideas and solutions and picked one, then you got to just try it. So, under definition, just do it. Execute design. Create it. Whatever you want to put, just put something along those lines. Now, you'll look underneath that definition. It talks about what technical skills are needed. Check that out. If we're going to build a bridge that's going to go over an interstate, there's obviously some skills that we're going to need that nobody in this room has. No offense to you guys, I don't see any welders. I don't see any people that are structural engineers. I don't see anybody in here that knows how to pour concrete. Short of myself. Now, and you may have dabbled in concrete, but you have definitely not done it in a scale like building a bridge. I promise you. Anyway, so before we even execute our design, and I would even say this probably needs to be under your plan, you got to figure out what skills you need. If you guys don't know how to weld something, you're going to have to figure out in your plan where are we going to find a welder. But this guy right here, I could do it, but I'm really expensive. You guys can't afford me. Okay? And generally speaking, welding, very high value skill. Not very many people can do it. So I'll tell you what, if you guys enjoy it, get into it, go to DMAC, 2 years. After that, you're making $50 an hour just going around welding stuff. Okay? The other thing, part of this, so as you're doing something, as you're figuring it out and you're doing it and you're creating it, you're going to find things that didn't work exactly right. Okay? So you need to explain and justify those things. Like, moving forward, if I'm going to do this again, how am I going to change it? That's it. Last one, and I want to get this done so we don't have to worry about it. We have 3 minutes to do it. Evaluating solution, very, 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 very important question. And the only thing you need to really type in, did it work as you wanted it to, as intended? So you've identified a problem. You've come up with a bunch of solutions and picked one. You tried that solution. Did it work? Period. Under evaluate the solution. So, got to know if it worked. Then the other parts of this, kind of looking back, all right, well, there are ways you could have made it better. If you don't think about your solution in ways that it can make it better, you're wasting your time. Because odds are you're going to have to revisit it down the road at some point. So, figure out ways that you could have fixed it. So there's the entire design cycle. I'm going to give you one really, really quick example. Design process. Design cycle does not have to be for major, huge problems. It can be for very, very small problems too. For example, my shoelace is untied. What's my problem? Shoes untied. What are some possible solutions to that? Okay, I could tie a bunny knot. I could just start tying knots, just rolling it around and pulling it through, right? What else could I do? Stick it in my shoe. Just don't even worry about tying it anyway. I could duct tape it. Or I could just take my shoe off. I could realize I'm never going to do this. The shoe is worthless. Throw it away. So now I have 5 solutions. We don't have time to do the criteria. Let's just assume which one's the best. Bunny ears, tie it. Got it? So then we've identified the problem, come up with solutions. We did our bunny knot. Did it work? Yes. Hey, we just did a whole design cycle. Now, what if then they keep coming untied? What then? Okay, so what's my problem? They keep coming untied. What are some solutions? Double knot, super glue, throw away the shoe, Velcro. Let's just say double knot, because that's less mess. Try it. Did it work? Hey, my shoe stayed on. That's 2 very, very quick examples of working through the design cycle. It's not as intimidating as it comes off. Okay? You use this whether you know it or not. Okay? So, moving forward from here, we need to save your Word document.